What's shakin' bacon? I'm revisiting recipes from culinary school, and today we're making duck pastrami. If you saw, about a month ago we posted a short asking y'all what recipe you'd like to see me make first. We posted it on YouTube and Instagram, and in the end, all three options I gave you came out with the same amount of votes, which was not expected. We also didn't expect to get as many votes as we got, so thank you so much for voting and giving us your input and helping this incredibly indecisive human being decide what to make first. About a week after we posted that short, we did get a tie-breaking vote, and duck pastrami came out on top. And now we're here. This specific recipe comes from my Garde Manger class. Garde Manger. That sounded right. The French really have a chokehold on culinary schools. That class included very little cooking with heat. We made salads and crudités and force meats and sausages and cured meats and fish. The recipe that we'll be following comes from a booklet that I got from that class. This is the schedule that we followed for the 2 weeks I was in that class. Yes, my culinary labs only ran for 9 days. I have stories. They will be shared. I'm pretty sure this booklet is made up of formulas that were created by one of my other chefs, Chef Teese, my man. I have thought about purchasing the book that these recipes are pulled from, but for now, I'm going to use the resources that I have before I spend more money to learn from that school. The recipe is super simple and cryptic, so we're going to have to do a little bit of reading in between the lines for this one, but I'm really excited. We should actually probably get started on this process because it's going to take us a week to finish. One last thing before we start, I would like to apologize for how long it's taken me to get this video out for you guys. I was a wee bit nervous about this undertaking, which led to me procrastinating and gathering the needed ingredients, and then the ingredients proved more challenging to procure than I expected. But after 5 different grocery stores and a few Amazon deliveries, we have everything that we need. This recipe calls for 8 to 12 duck breasts, which, I mean, when it takes you an entire week to make something, you may as well make a lot of it. I was under the impression that I would be able to pretty easily find duck breasts to purchase. Like I said, I went to 5 different grocery stores, 2 of which were Asian markets, which I thought for sure would have duck breasts. No, I found quite literally every other part of the duck. I couldn't find a single duck titty anywhere. So I did what I could, and I bought a whole duck. I thought it could be fun to break down this whole duck together, and then I'll use the breasts and the thighs for this experiment. I've never broken down a duck before, but it's a bird, and you know what else is a bird? A chicken. And I'm a firm believer that once you know how to break down a chicken, you can break down any poultry. My favorite part of this whole thing is not only did I have to buy a whole duck, but the duck that I did buy still has the head and feet attached. You know, there's a first time for everything, and you and I will get through this together. Okay. A story that I want to tell y'all about my Garde Manger class is that a lot of people at my school thought that this class was kind of useless and unnecessary because we really didn't cook in the class. So a lot of people would call the class, instead of calling it Garde Manger, they would call it garbage, which is very funny. That's hilarious to me. So I really wasn't looking forward to this class because I had heard only negative things about it. I had a great time in that class, let me tell you. I still think the word garbage is very funny, and I use it in my everyday vocabulary, but that class was far from garbage, in my opinion. We were broken up into groups like we were for pretty much all of our classes. We would do all of the learning and classwork and stuff in groups, and then we would be tested individually for practical exams and such. So each group had to come up with a team name. And mind you, this is back when the song Bad and Bougie by Migos was super popular. So my team, we named ourselves Bad and Boucher, which literally translates to Bad and Butcher, which is pretty awesome, honestly, because I actually had completely forgotten about that and didn't even consider that memory when Xavior and I were thinking of names for our YouTube channel. So honestly, That's kind of a little bit of, I don't know, foreshadowing maybe to my future. Damn. Oh. Look at how little this tender is. So I'm going to go ahead and clean all this up, stick this back in the fridge for now, and then we'll go on to the next phase of this process. I gotta clean up some duck juices though, so BRB. The next step is converting the recipe. Originally, it's supposed to yield about 10 pounds, so I'm going to weigh the duck and then adjust the measurements of the recipe to accommodate for this amount of duck. The weight of our duck is 1.182 pounds. Very different from 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust these measurements as if we had about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of duck, because I'd rather have too much brine than not enough brine. And I feel like it'll be easier to do that math instead of exactly 1.182 of 10 pounds. It's actually going to be easier if I do 25% of the original recipe. Okay. So the next course of action is to make the brine that this is gonna sit in for 3 days. 1 cup of water. Quick tender was actually really difficult to find and it was super expensive online, but I ended up finding it at Weiss. So if you have a Weiss near you, you might be able to find it there. 1/4 of a cup of quick tender. Quick tender is like curing salt, but it's not curing salt because it's got extra ingredients in it. And then this is 1/2 tablespoon of pickling spice. I'm just gonna do approximate. Oh, that smells so good. There's like whole pieces of chili and bay leaves in here. I'm also gonna pull out a couple of those. We're just gonna do a little bit extra. It's flavor. I'm a garlic girl. I really am. So we're gonna use 3 cloves still. There's really not a need to peel them. And those are 3 pretty large garlic cloves. And that's it. And then we'll add ice to it after it is all heated up and dissolved. So I'm gonna turn this on to like 300 degrees. We're just warming this up enough really to dissolve the quick tender and get all of the flavors start to commingle together. Smells good. This is probably enough, but my brain is also telling me that this is not enough. But we can do this once, and then next time we can make adjustments. But we do need a control group. Oh, it's steaming. It's hot enough. Awesome. That was so fast. Cool. Now we're gonna add the ice to cool everything down really fast. To adjust, it would be 1/4 cup of ice, but that's like 3 ice cubes. So I'm just gonna use closer to 1 cup of ice probably with how big these ice cubes are. I think it's sufficiently cooled. It's like room temp. Good enough. I'm gonna place all of my duck, hopefully flat. That'll probably fit. Yeah. Okay. Let's pour over the brine. Good. That covered it. We're gonna cover her up. Give her a label. I also put the time on the label as well as obviously the date and what's in here because we're supposed to let this brine for 72 hours. So I want to make sure that I'm as close to that as possible. And then over the next couple of days, we're going to be flipping each of these pieces over. So I'm also going to put a little checklist to keep track of how many times we've flipped the duck in the brine. So I'm gonna go stick this in the fridge, and that's all for today. I will see you tomorrow for our first flip. And there's flip number 2. Final flip done. I could have done this the other day. I meant to do this the other day, and I didn't. I'm gonna put together the rub that'll go on the duck before we smoke it. And after converting it from the original recipe, it is 1 tablespoon of black pepper and 2 tablespoons of coriander. Now, I'm pretty sure that it would prefer me to use the whole spices and crush them, but I just have the ground ones. Now it's all ready for when we need it. So it's been the 72 hours in the brine. Now we have to rinse it and then put it in fresh water. And then we get to wait another 3 days, and we have to change the water every single day over the next 3 days. You thought we were done. So we're closing in on smoking day for the duck, and I don't own a smoker. We do have a charcoal grill though, and I know you can smoke things on a charcoal grill, but I need to do a little bit of research on how to go about that. Yeah, I was nervous about cutting the face off of the duck, but I'm the most nervous about the smoking portion of this entire endeavor. All the instructions say is brine for 72 hours, which we did, flip every day, which we did, drain, rinse, soak 3 days in fresh water, which we are currently doing, rub, which we just made, and smoke. That's all it says. It doesn't say for how long to smoke. It doesn't say anything. So let's look to see what other people do when they make duck pastrami. According to this one, it'll take about an hour and a half to 2 hours. This website says the same temp as the last one. Oh, this uses the same rub that I'm using. Interesting. And this one says the internal temp should be 140. All the internal temperatures have been different. They all say 1.5 to 2 hours. So that's consistent. If using a charcoal grill, set up for indirect heat and monitor temperature, adjusting with hot. Okay. One of these methods is you light the charcoal and then you line the charcoal on either side of the grill, leaving a space in the middle, and then you put a foil pan with hot water in the middle to help regulate the temperature and add moisture. That seems pretty straightforward. So I'm feeling pretty good about our plan. Cool. It's duck smoking day. That looks promising. That looks like fire. Okay, we wait now. Oh my gosh. Whoa! Hot water. Woo! I'm gonna throw in a couple more coals on each side. The lid. Now we wait for the inside to come up to temperature. We're looking for 225. Oh, I'm in your way. Doesn't need to be this hot. Let's close it off a little bit. We're at 250 now. 250 is within the range that I wanted to stay within. I wanted to stay in between 225 and 250. I'm gonna go grab the duck and we can put it on there. Now all we do is watch and regulate the temperature. It's back up to 225. Cool, cool, cool. I've got my probe thermometer set for 160 to go off at 160. I'm going to clean up a little bit and then I'll come back out here and check on it again. Goodness, this is science. I think the beer really completes the smoking meat look. For the Super Bowl a couple weeks ago, I got a variety pack from Dogfish Head because I really like their 60-minute IPA. And so I got one of their variety packs because I also like their other stuff. This one is the one that I've been in the mood for the most for the last couple of weeks. It's a Belgian style white. My dad claims to not like these, I don't know, but it's really hitting the spot for me lately. I think this is my last one, so that's a little sad. And a crack koozie. Temperature is looking good. This might happen way faster than I thought it would. One of the things that I read when I was researching is that you really don't want to lift up the lid. So when it says that we've reached the temp that I'm shooting for, we'll check and we'll see. Until then, we don't know what's happening in here. Oh, I should show you my Crocs. Can you see that? It's a cow and a cleaver. Aren't these gibbets the best thing you've ever seen? Did I bring out other things to do? Yes. I don't know if I will be doing anything else besides just looking at this temperature gauge. It doesn't feel like we started this process a week ago. It was super duper passive. And I mean, if you can find duck breasts and don't need to break down a whole duck, it's even less work, actually. But now that I've got like all the stuff, I can make beef pastrami next, maybe. Do you guys still want to see salmon gravlax and bourbon cured salmon? I can do that too. I am chilly. The temperature is kind of low. We're at like 220 right now, and I just got off the phone with my grandfather. I opened it up and I added a couple more coals, and now like the vents are like totally open for oxygen. So I need you to heat up, please. We're still 30 degrees away. We got to like 130, and we've been chilling at 130 for the internal temp of this duck for a good while now. So maybe this is going to take as long as I thought. Because of how quickly the temperature was rising in the beginning, I was kind of nervous that it was gonna happen really, really fast. No. Oh, it looks like the temperature's rising a little bit. Yes! We've gotten on to beer number 2, which will probably be the last one. But this is the 16-minute IPA by Dogfish Head. It's very tasty. We are sitting still at a consistent like 120 temperature. The internal temp of the duck has not gone up any. The vents are all pretty open. You can do even more, really. I would like the temperature to rise at least like between 10 and 20 more degrees would be nice. Oh my God, is it raining? Oh crap. It's raining. Okay, first things first, let's take the very expensive camera inside. This smells super good. Let's temp it. These need a little bit more time. We're just gonna finish them up in the oven. I'm gonna cover up our duck with aluminum to help kind of keep the heat in. And then I'm also going to fill this up with a little bit of water to help keep everything moist. I just put the duck in the oven and it's at 300 degrees because I figured a lower temperature would be better. I don't know. This is really a lot of like trial and error. I hope this is okay. It smells really, really good. I'm pretty beat for today, so I'm just gonna let them cool overnight and then Xavier and I will try them together in the morning. I'm pretty pumped. They look great. We'll be back tomorrow. It's been a week of butchery, brining, soaking, and smoking. And finally, we get to taste our duck pastrami. It was on smoke for like an hour and a half to 2, but then it started to rain, so I had to bring it inside. But I think it got a good amount of smoke on it.
Smells good from here.
I'm curious because it was only like 7 ingredients total. Since it calls for breast, I thought we would try the breasts first.
Okay.
And then compare it to the thigh.
I'm with it.
That looks really good.
It does look really good.
It smells so good.
That's really good.
Wow.
It's smoky. It's peppery.
I brined it for 3 days, and then I had to soak it in water for 3 days. So I was nervous that the brining wouldn't actually impart any flavor, but it's very moist.
It is really moist. It's really tender.
None of the flavors are super overpowering. The meat itself, it's very delicate in flavor. There's nothing like super aggressive about any of the flavors.
I agree.
That's
it's really good.
good.
That's really good.
I think that's gonna make a really good sandwich.
I think so too. You gonna try the thigh now?
Oh yeah, I straight forgot.
I think you did a great job.
I haven't eaten a lot of duck in my life, so, and I also haven't eaten a lot of pastrami in my life either. So I didn't really know what to expect. I'm glad that you like it. Interesting.
Thigh's a little bit easier to chew through.
Oh, you think so? It definitely has a completely different texture. I would say this has more flavor. Like the meat itself, I feel like has more flavor. It's almost like it absorbed the brine more.
It's a little bit more smoky, too.
It is. And they were all out there the same.
It's a little firmer.
It is a little firmer than the breast. Interesting. That's probably science. This is so good. I love you. I wish I made more of you. I'm really, really happy with how this experiment went. It's so good. Final thoughts are that this is incredibly delicious. It is so flavorful. It is peppery, obviously, because of pepper being literally 50% of the rub, but it's not so peppery that you'll come away coughing. You know when there's just slightly too much black pepper in something and you're like hacking after you take a bite? This is so balanced, and the peppery rub goes incredibly well with the smoky flavor from smoking the meat. It's super savory overall, and the fat, while it looks like there's a lot, the fat just kind of adds this awesome smooth mouthfeel that the only way I can describe as luscious. Like I said, you know, smoky, peppery, savory, fatty in like the most delicious way. This is a win. This is nothing but a win. I think it's gonna be awesome in a sandwich, which I will definitely be making a sandwich. And I think if you were to make this in a large batch and freeze it in smaller portions and pull it out to add to a charcuterie board, this would be so good with crackers and jam. Oh, it would be delicious paired with something like that. Such a bougie add to a charcuterie board. I wish I could have made more. I wish I could have made a bigger batch of this so that I don't have to feel bad every time I eat a piece that it's just dwindling down. Overall, the whole process was actually pretty easy. The hardest part was smoking the meat. So if you have more experience smoking meats, that won't be as difficult for you. I do think potentially there is a way to hack it where maybe you can add some liquid smoke to the brine or even to the water that you soak it in after we soak it in the brine, adding a little bit of liquid smoke and kind of infusing the flavor that way, and then baking it in the oven if you can't use a smoker. I think that could be a really good hack. I think you can still get a very similar flavor. This was so successful in my opinion, and I'm really excited to potentially make beef pastrami eventually. I think that would be really, really fun. I can totally see myself doing this again. Thank you for going on this journey with me. Let us know if you like this idea of me revisiting recipes from culinary school and if we should make more videos like this. Please leave us a like, a comment, and subscribe for more bartending and butchery content. And until next time. I am sweating and I'm cold, so I'm cold sweating. I hope I'm in focus because I can't tell. I forgot the water. My hands smell like garlic. We're almost there. Almost there. A little extra. Hello, airplane. Another plane. There's a plane there and a plane there. Oh, and some birds. We don't even live that close to the airport. How many planes is that? Like 7? 8? So many airplanes. Holy shit. Charcoal down. My hair is gonna be so messed up after this. This duck breast right here. It looks like an alligator head.